So by now you should have looked at the PowerPoint presentation or the Google Docs presentation I had online, either on Edmodo or on my webpage. If you haven't done so yet, okay, I want you to stop this video right now, go back to the presentation, look at what I have down for notes, okay. Take notes on those topics, because you're going to need that information to get what we're going to do on the board in a few moments. Again, you need to have the vocabulary down. You need to have the information before we even start going through this. So please, if you haven't done so, go ahead and stop and then come back when you finish that. Okay. If you're ready to go, we're going to start the presentation with codominance. Okay. From the PowerPoint, you said, or from the presentation, excuse me, we talked about codominance being where two dominant genes, okay, show up in the offspring. Okay, so you have dominant genes for color per se, and what I said there for color, they're going to show up in the offspring. So for example, if you have one color that's dominant, whether it be brown, and one color white, the offspring is going to show both brown and white. So I'm going to show you how to do that with a Punnett square. Okay. So again, we're going to use fur color in cows. Okay, that's the big topic there. So cow fur color. Okay, so we have brown is dominant, and I want you guys to understand that it is homozygous dominant more than anything. Okay, and we have white as dominant. Okay, in some cows, and that's homozygous dominant as well. Okay, so we're going to cross two parents with homozygous dominant genes. So it's this genotype with this genotype. Okay, now, so we're going to make our Punnett square. Again, it's pretty indifferent on which goes on top, which goes on the side. Okay, so you're going to cross it. You're going to use your crossing method you learned back in 7th grade. Okay, you're going to get this. Okay, the main difference between codominance and regular dominant recessive crosses is that when you have a codominant, it's called a non-Mendelian genetic inheritance. That means it's not typical. So when you have this heterozygous cross where you have big B and big W, you're going to get a mixture of the two. So you're going to get brown, okay, and white in the fur color. Okay, so now you're going to add this, so this now becomes another option with fur color. And this happens a lot in the animal kingdom. So when you see cows that are brown and white, dogs that are brown and white, cats that have mixed color, usually talking about this type of dominance, codominance, where they're gonna both appear in the fur color. Okay, pretty simple, pretty basic. Okay, I just want you guys to understand what the outcome is going to be different than just traditional genetics that you guys have been doing in 7th grade. Okay? Keeping this in mind right here, we're going to do one more cross, but this time we're going to cross the heterozygous parent, okay, with, let's say, a homozygous white parent. So again, same thing. You're going to have in your Punnett squares, this time in a cross. Okay, and this is when you start to add a little bit of math. Okay, you start looking at ratios and proportions. Okay, so out of 4 you have 2 out of 4. Okay, so it's a 2-to-2 ratio. You're going to have 50%. Okay, going to be mixed colored, I guess, and brown and white. And then you have 50% white, and that's this. Okay. So you're going to add some proportion to that. We're going to do that later. That'll come into play a little later. Okay? Pretty simple. Hopefully we'll get that. Okay? Again, you have to practice these problems. Kind of practice makes perfect in this situation. Okay? The second thing we're going to talk about is incomplete dominance. Okay? From the presentation, you guys learned, or you should have picked up, that incomplete dominance, okay, is where you have traits that are blended. Okay, in this case, in color, we're going to talk about plant color. It happens a lot in the plant kingdom, where you have flower color one's dominant, another plant is dominant. When they mix, they bring up a new color in that species of plant. So we're going to use the famous example of the snapdragon. That's just a typical plant. Okay. So in snapdragons, you have red, homozygous red, color dominant, and you have a homozygous white, dominant color. Okay, so these two colors are dominant in the snapdragon family. Okay, when you mix these two, when you cross them, I should say, not mix them. When you cross them, you're going to do again your traditional Punnett square. Okay, you're going to get this as your heterozygous result, offspring. Okay, so the heterozygous, okay, form of this produces a pink plant, okay, or a pink flower. So when you cross in an incomplete dominant situation, incomplete, you have a blended thing. It's kind of like putting milk in coffee. One's brown, one's white. You get kind of like a tan look. This is, you're going to get this. It's the same concept in incomplete dominance. So the difference between co-dominance and incomplete dominance is that in co-dominance you have both colors show up. In incomplete dominance you have a blended dominance, okay, or blended color show up. Okay, the ratios are the same. It's going to be one of those 2 to 2. If you cross a heterozygous with a homozygous, you're going to get a 2 to 2 ratio and so forth. Okay, again, incomplete dominance, blended color, co-dominance, mixed color. Okay, both show up. Finally, here's where the challenge comes. That's pretty basic and pretty simple. Okay? What I want you guys to do, your challenge is to cross two traits in what we call a dihybrid cross. Okay? Dihybrid cross. Okay, what does that mean? That means crossing two traits at the same time. Okay? So, I'm going to just make up two different traits. I'm going to show you how to do it, and then you can practice with your handout after you finish this video. Okay? So, we're going to use eye color and hair color. And we're just going to use generic colors just so I can show you what happens. Okay? So, we're going to say blue eyes is dominant, and we're going to use a big B for dominant trait for blue, over green eyes. Okay? Is this true in real life? It just depends on the family. So if in case you're asking, it just depends on your family. If your family has a bunch of blue eyes, then chances are it's dominant. Okay? We're going to use hair color in the sense where we're going to use crazy colors. Okay? So we're going to say that red hair, we're going to use big R for red, is dominant over green hair, okay? And this is naturally green, okay? Again, this is just for this example, okay? So I want you guys to cross. The possible genotypes for both of them are going to be below. So we have possible genotypes for eye color, which is big B, little b, and then little b. Okay, these two are both homozygous. One is dominant, one is recessive. The middle one is heterozygous, okay? And that means it has a dominant and recessive gene. Same goes for here, in this case, all right? Homozygous, dominant and recessive, and then heterozygous. Okay, so, pretty simple, we'll find out. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to cross, okay? Understand that we're going to cross this right here. We're going to cross a homozygous dominant person for eye color with recessive hair right here with, okay, a heterozygous dominant eye color and a heterozygous for both traits. Okay, now pay attention. You're going to probably want to rewind this several times. Okay, so you're going to cross both these traits on one Punnett square. Now, there's 4 traits. So that means you're going to have 4 Punnett squares put together on one table. Okay, how does that work, you ask? Okay, so 1 Punnett square, 2 Punnett square, 3 Punnett square, 4 Punnett square. Okay, so that's how it works. Alright, that's going to be your Punnett square. Kind of sloppy, but I'll redo it, okay? Now, what goes in the boxes? Alright, I'm going to erase this. Make sure you write it down. Make sure it will be written down somewhere, excuse me. Okay, so this is our cross. Okay, now, in order to put each trait in a box, you're going to have to do it this way. So, in order to get your genotypes, you're going to cross the first trait with both the second traits. So you're going to end up with this and this. Then you'll do the same thing with the top one. Okay? So again, the possibilities for traits from this 2 crosses is these 4 genotypes. I know it's confusing. Just watch. Okay? Watch. Alright? Again, cross this one and this one. So you're going to have big B, big R, big B, little r. Cross this first trait with this second trait. Big B, big R, and then big B, little r. Alright? So these are the things you're going to go into your box. Okay? Start from there. Now, across the top, each of these traits. Remember, you're crossing 2 traits in one large Punnett square. Okay? There's your father and mother, and then you have that. Alright, so let's draw lines so you guys won't get confused. Got it? Alright. So, now we're just going to combine traits. Alright? Okay. And if you notice, it's the same way down, so this is going to be a pretty easy one. Alright, big B. Okay. Alright, see how I got that? Big B, big R, little r, right there. Alright, and then find your last one. They're going to be big B, little b, all the way down. And then little r. Alright? Okay, 2 traits. I know it's confusing, it's crazy. Okay? Once you know how to do this, then I'll ask you a series of questions like what's the possibility, what's the probability, okay, that you're going to have a homozygous dominant offspring. I mean, offspring that's homozygous dominant for eye color and heterozygous dominant for heterozygous for hair color. Okay, so it's super important, first of all, to get this down. But more important than that, you need to make sure you guys have the understanding of what homozygous and heterozygous is. Okay, if you have any questions, okay, you can look this up online under dihybrid crosses. Okay, thank you very, very much and good luck. If you have any questions, please feel free to reply on Edmodo. Bye-bye.